What's going on? This is Ryan with Automatic Comics, and up next, we've got a really awesome unboxing here, but this one's going to be a little special. There's something I feel like is pretty special in one of these ones. Actually, one of the books in here is a definite keeper for me, possibly the other one as well. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun, cool video, so let's check these out. Right, so before we get started, please remember to hit that like button and hit the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content like this. So I've got two books here. One of them is raw, one of them is graded. The graded book, definitely on my keeper list. It's actually a book I've owned a number of times before. It has been on and off my keeper list. This one is a higher grade copy, which is what's putting it back on there. And then the other one is a raw book that I think is going to be really fun to check out. I'm also going to do a flip through of that one at the end, so make sure to stick with the video and check out the interior of this book. All right, so let's start with the graded book. This one here, and this is a book that I picked up on Instagram in a live claim sale. I believe this was another one that was run through Grail's Comics, was being run by Newsstand Comic Collector. Because I know I have people often ask, where can you go on Instagram to start? What channels should you start following if you're interested in buying stuff? And because you want to have something or someone that you can trust, especially when you're starting off. And there are a couple really big comic consignment dealers or accounts or pages on Instagram. One of them is Grail's Comics. The other one, and it's spelled with a Z and an X, I believe. So it's like Grail's Comics. And then the other one is Elite Comics 11. Those are two of the big ones. There are others as well, but that's a good place to start if you're looking to, start following some reputable sellers and dealers on Instagram. So this live sale that was being hosted by them, they had done a preview, and in that preview there was really like one book that I was really interested in, and I ended up getting it. So I was pretty happy about that. I saw it when he took that book out. He had his price on it. I asked about it. I made an offer and he accepted. So like I said, this is one that is definitely getting added to my keeper list. And lots of bubble wrap. Everything's package safe. And if you've seen my videos before, I have owned this book on 3 different occasions. Get it out of the bag here. I have owned a 2.0, a 3.0, a 4.0, and those had all been on my keeper list at some point, and then I replaced them and got the better copy, and then I finally ended up cutting the 4.0, I don't know, maybe 8 months ago, 6-8 months ago. But this one is a 5.5. And a 5.5, it starts to become a pretty tough grade for this book. So what this is Archie Comics number 50. This is probably, maybe the most well-known kind of good girl art type cover from Archie Comics, kind of the sexual innuendo type covers from Archie Comics. This is, number 50 from 1951, classic Betty cover, where you've got her talking to Archie on the phone, where he meant to call Veronica, and she's telling him that he should come over to her place instead. But yeah, the classic good girl cover, and other cool thing, it's got the the date stamp right there as well. But a 5.5 is a tough grade in this book. You do not see them come up for sale very often above the 2.0, 3.0, maybe 4.0 range. And so I saw in his preview that he had a 5.5, and so was really happy to be able to make a deal on this one. Here's the back cover. There are definitely some little things, like he had mentioned that he had been considering trying to press it to go for a higher grade. Like there are some little things that are probably pressable, like up in the corner up there. But the big concern to me would be the flaws along the spine. It's a really nice condition copy in the center. I'd say this is the best presenting copy I've had, because you can have lower grade copies that actually present really well. And I did have, I think my 3.0 presented really well, because it had like some worm chew or whatever down in the spine here that really hurt the grade. But but this one is definitely the best presenting copy. I mean, really bright colors, really clean, like main central image. And yeah, it's just that you can see along the spine, there's these, you know, you've got the reader creases where somebody's opened the book at the staples, and you get those little folds, little, you know, crease down in that corner, little crease here, and then on the back, there's, you know, there's a little bit of wear and everything. I mean, if it could get a 6.0, a 6.0 is another pretty big jump for this book. It's just that you have, obviously you have less and less copies that are available the higher grades you go, and there are certain grades where you get bigger jumps, and a 6.0 is a pretty big jump for rarity. So it's a tempting thing, but I wouldn't want to submit it and then get a 5.0. You know, like you crack it, you press it, and you resubmit and you end up with a 5 would really suck, because it's not a cheap book anyway at a 5.5. But yeah, really excited about getting this one. So going on my keeper list, Archie number 50, Classic Betty, Good Girl art cover in a 5.5. All right, now let's get into this one. So this is the one I'm going to do a flip through of this book as well. I have this, so this is a raw book. A lot of times I will check the raw books before I film these videos, just because I like to check the interiors quickly, you know, when I get the book, just to make sure that there isn't anything missing, or, you know, something that is just not as described, because this was an eBay purchase and I like to try to do those returns as soon as possible if I find a problem. But I did get this from a very reputable seller on eBay that I bought from a number of times in the past, so I'm not overly concerned. But I've only had this for a couple days, so I'm well within that range still. And then you get to see me open it on here and get my reaction with it, and then I'll count the pages real quick while we're live here, and then, like I said, we'll do the flip through. We'll talk about this book a little bit. Just want to make sure I don't accidentally nick anything. I mean, everything, you know, it was inside that box, and then also inside this. I mean, so for a raw book, packaged very well, because this book was not cheap. This book cost a little over $3,000 before shipping and taxes. So definitely not a cheap raw book. And just want to make sure I get everything out of here fine.
A few moments later.
All right, awesome. And yeah, it is. And the other thing is, it's a low grade copy. So $3,000 in a low grade copy, that's kind of how big of a deal this book is. So, all right, so here it is. This is Superman number 2. And you can see it's got tape along the spine. It's got some pretty big stains on the bottom here and on the top over here. The other thing about this book is that this is a married copy. So what that means is which I am going to do, if I send this into CGC, it's going to get a green label. And so it has, the interior is from one book and the cover is from a different book. And they were married together to make a complete copy. So this is one of those things where, I mean, this I got from a reputable dealer. And so he said, this is a married copy. You can see why, this kind of stuff. But that's the type of thing where people ask, well, why do you get books graded, and what benefits are there to grading? This is the type of thing that you could have somebody who's not a reputable seller try to pass this off as a universal, complete copy. And the price differences are very different. I mean, like I said, I paid a little over $3,000 for this book. I think even in this state as a married copy, it's probably a $5,000 book. But if it was universal, it'd be even more, probably $7,000 or $8,000. And so that's kind of what we're talking about here with the why that can be very important with that. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to check the page count. Now, this is why I also always look up on either the Grail Comics database or Go Collect or someplace that gives you an official page count, because on the cover here you see it says 64 pages in color. There are 64 interior pages. There are 68 total pages when you include the covers. Sometimes when you have these numbers on here, they're referring to the interior, not including the covers. Sometimes they're referring to the covers. And so you want to make sure you check that, because if you counted these and you saw 64 pages including the covers, then that would mean you're actually missing an entire wrap. So that's why, we're going to count this and we'll make sure that everything is here. And the cover is, it is detached, so that will make handling it a little easier. At least I'm pretty sure it said it was detached. Yeah. So what we'll do is this is the interior here. And I did check with an actual copy, so I know that this is what I would expect to see on the first splash page, because if it's a married copy, this is from two separate books. And so this is actually the first page of a Superman #2, and this is what you expect to see on the last page of a Superman #2. And you can see on the interior, the staples are all good. That all looks fine. And so now I'll speed through this, but I'm gonna do the quick page count. Okay, so that's 16. So because it's 64 interior pages, it's 16 to center and then 16 more. And there's the centerfold, there's the staple at the top that is attached, staple at the bottom is detached at the centerfold. So now we should see 16 more pages till we get to the back. All right, so it's all there. We have 64 interior pages. We have the cover. So there's the front and the back of the cover. And here you can see, the interior where you can see those stains and everything like that. And this one is from, I believe it's, fall 1939. So that's you can get the age of this book. So down there in the indicia, fall 1939 edition. So that gives us what is a complete copy of Superman #2, but it is a married copy. So one where you're going to have the green label when this thing ultimately gets graded. Now, what will this grade out as, given where it's at with the detached cover, tape along the spine? I think, it's a lot of staining. I think a 1 to a 1.5. I believe he sold it as a 1. And I think it has a shot at a 1.5. There's staining, but it's complete. There's, just like this little chip in the top. Everything presents pretty well. So I'm very happy with this book. So now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to flip the camera around, and then we're going to go do a flip through of this book. So you can see all the interior pages of this. And that's the other big plus of having a lower grade copy, is I'm not really worried about handling it. I still wash my hands beforehand, but it's not like this is a really high grade copy that I'm going to do more damage to it. It's pretty hard for me to do much more than what that staining has done to this book. So yeah, let's flip this camera around. Let's check this book out.
2,000 years later.
All right, so here is the Superman #2. First thing I thought I'd show you is how we know for sure that this is a married copy. One thing that jumps out immediately is that you have this big stain on here and here, and that's not on the interior. That's not unheard of. I've seen plenty of books where you have stains on the cover that aren't on the interior. The main thing that's the giveaway is, and this is so if you're ever worried about, something like this where you have a potential, married book, the main thing is how the staples line up. So you can see you've got staples here and here, but the staple holes from the cover are here and here. So the staples on the actual cover, the staple holes from the cover are about, an inch or half an inch or so above where the staple holes are from the interior. That's one of the first dead giveaway things that you do when you're looking for something like married centerfolds or married covers, is do the staple holes line up? In this case, they do not, and that's just the big giveaway that this is a married book. But with that, let's check out this interior. I'll just flip through. I'll have some music playing in the background, and let's check out this awesome book. All right, so that was the whole book. Hope you enjoyed. All right, so that's both the books. That was the interior for Superman #2. So yeah, I feel like that's something pretty cool. Maybe you don't get to see on on every channel, because especially even though there are quite a few #2s graded. I mean, it's such a valuable book. You get a lot of them graded. It's over 200 graded, I believe. I'm betting that most copies, or a pretty high percentage of copies, are actually graded. And so I feel like it's a pretty unique opportunity to get to see the interior of Superman #2, book from 1939. So this is one I will definitely be considering for my keeper list. I haven't made that official decision yet on this one. But then we also have, this other awesome book I picked up, Archie #50, which is definitely going on my keeper list. I've been trying to get a higher grade copy for a while, so real excited I was finally able to get one up in the 5s. So if you enjoyed this video, saw, some books maybe you don't see every day, some pretty cool stuff like the interior of that Superman #2, let's hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to see more videos, I've got more videos over here. Subscription button should be right around here. And then I will see you in the next video.